Everywhere I go, I hear the same thing, that the medical model we've been operating under for the last several decades is all but dead, giving way to what is called energy healing. The field of energy healing is an expansive one, but each modality has one thing in common. They work with the natural healing energies already built into the human body and brain via the mind-body quantum connection. Leslie Feinberg, who is one of the great pioneers in this field, has evolved from chiropractic and kinesiology into an extremely efficient and direct means of getting a body to agree to and thus jumpstart the healing process. His healing modality is known as NMT, the Feinberg technique. First of all, Leslie, if you can explain, what is NMT?
Well, neuromodulation technique is a method of healing. It's really a method of inducing the healing process, which is an innate quality of all living things, but sometimes it becomes blocked. So it's a method that allows us to identify what the factors are that are blocking healing and to make corrections so that healing can ensue the way it was designed to.
And you actually liken our nervous system to a biocomputer that can be debugged.
Exactly.
In a sense. And
exactly.
so, and since most people here are on their computer, in fact, almost everybody watching right now is on their computer, and we can understand the notion of debugging. Can you get into some of those computer analogies a little bit to help progress what's going on here?
I can. Think about it this way, that if a person is perfectly well, if they're deathly ill, or if they're somewhere in between, whatever the state of their health, we can consider that the physical manifestation of some set of instructions in the organism. And wellness implies that those instructions are just what they ought to be. And illness implies that there's some error within those instructions. Now, the interesting thing about our consciousness, and this is a method of consciousness medicine, is this, that consciousness is very much like an iceberg, if you will. You know, 90% of an iceberg is under the waterline. Only 10% sticks above. And our conscious mind, the part that we're aware of and we can introspect with, is that 10%. But the vast majority of neurological processing really happens at a subconscious level. And that's the level that we address with neuromodulation technique, because that's the level that regulates body function. Mm-hmm. So we apply a system of queries and corrective statements that are fashioned around a particular window of physiology. For instance, we might evaluate neuromusculoskeletal function, or we might evaluate allergy, or we might evaluate some other function of the body and identify where the errors are that are keeping the body from expressing normal physiology in that area, and make corrections within that information system so that normal processes can unfold and healing can ensue.
Now, you're doing this through consciousness, intention, language, and protocols, I understand. I mean, it's not like you have any modalities, physical modalities you're working with. You're really going direct, pure consciousness and language.
It's true. You know, one of the things that I realized as a result of my studies was that everything that falls into the category of energetic medicine is really consciousness medicine. It's really informational medicine. To give you an example of that, if you went to see a Native American shaman, and in the course of working with you, they donned a mask of some power animal, or they brushed you with eagle feathers, they did chants. You might on one level look at that and say, well, it's some sort of magic or something, but on another level you have to realize that those procedures and those props that are used by a shaman really constitute a body of meaning and significance that is exchanged with the subject in order to make a correction and reset the system into a healing mode. If you think about going to an acupuncturist will tell you that when they're trained to insert the needles that they insert into the acupuncture meridians, that there's always a particular intention that is held as they insert those needles. So really, all of these methods of energetic medicine are about information. And that being the case, I thought, why not use the most powerful metaphorical system that humans have ever developed, which is language? And it gives us the power to do a thorough investigation and to make corrections in a broad array of categories of health issues.
And we have to look at all of the neurosciences, Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton and many others that are looking at the incredible intelligence of individual cells, not just collectively, but as individual cells, universes, intelligence forces unto themselves. So of course, it would seem communication is everything. How these cells communicate with each other would have to be the building block of all health and life. And so if they're not speaking to each other, if you have wars going on between one type of cell versus another, we have problems. So let's go now back to, say, chiropractic, where we are beginning to work with energy, skeletal movement, and so forth, and progress that forward to how you ended up where you ended up. I know it's a long story, but kind of if you can hopscotch through it a bit, that'd be great.
Well, you know, my training as a chiropractor involved the basic theory of chiropractic, which is that illness happens as a result of blockage of nerve energy. And we broaden that to recognize that health ensues as a result of the unfolding of a set of information within the system, that it's not just a matter of pressing against nerves, but something that the founder of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer, referred to as quality interference. That is, at a central nervous system level, the computations and the information processing that determine physiology has been somehow corrupted or confused.
Almost like broken links?
Almost like broken links. So, for instance, within the realm of, say, allergy, if we look at the allergy situation, what is that? Well, in an allergy situation, you find that a particular person is responding to something that 99% of the population would find to be beneficial, or at least not toxic. But in a person who has an allergy, there are errors within their informational system that cause confusion and inappropriate responses of the immune system, so that inflammation results. And so what we do is we engage the mind-body in a dialogue, a therapeutic dialogue, to train the mind-body into an awareness of those things to which it's making an inappropriate immune system response, to identify the informational errors that are responsible for it, to correct the labeling, if you will, that the particular chemicals or substances that trigger the allergy response are provoked by, to recognize the distinction between that thing that's behaving as an allergen and those substances that comprise the body, to recognize where information within the system has been commingled in a way that causes an autoimmune response. And those steps then comprise what we call an NMT clinical pathway. That is, a set of query statements and instructional statements to identify and then to correct the confusion that causes the allergy situation.
Where do emotions figure into this? Because my understanding is that often allergies, for example, can have their original inspiration or onset through emotional events coupled with whatever the other type of allergen, present at that time was. So in all of this, where do emotions figure in when you're looking at that clinical analysis?
I think it's a good idea to talk about what emotions are.
Very good.
We all talk about emotions, and sometimes we really don't parse it out as far as deciding what they really are. And from the NMT point of view, emotions comprise the language by which the other than conscious mind, that vast majority of the nervous system, speaks to and compels the conscious mind to do that which is necessary for the survival of the organism. So we don't look at the issue as good emotions or bad emotions, but only emotions that are appropriate